Alright guys, in this video I'm going to be going through a macro view of the NFT economy as a whole. So all crypto collectible projects, all NFT projects, kind of like how you would look at cryptocurrency as a whole. How's it doing? Which kind of markets is it penetrating? BTC and Ethereum, how are they doing in their respective areas? Is BTC being adopted? What kind of news and publicity it's getting, etc., etc. NFTs are fairly new. They're yet to have that kind of boom phase where cryptocurrencies have had a few of those. Most recently in 2017, late 2017, cryptocurrencies went from known by just a few or a handful of people in a group to pretty much everyone. I used to remember going to work in December 2017, and then everyone was talking about cryptocurrencies in November, and everyone was refreshing their blockfolio, jumping on the bandwagon, and by the end of it all, you either loved or hated cryptocurrencies. You either got wrecked by the market, made some money, but at the very least, you kind of knew about cryptocurrencies. So there's yet to be some sort of catalyst like that, like cryptocurrencies. But if you look at the OpenSea chart, you can kind of see it's resembling the early days of coin market cap, where we used to see a bit of volume, some projects pop up every now and then. This is very different to what it looked like 2 years ago when I first got involved. There wasn't that many of these at all. There was like Decentraland right at the top, or at least Decentraland and CryptoKitties at the top, and then a lot of these other ones are really, really small now. There's been a bunch of projects at least experiment with it. Binance experimenting with their NFTs. So there's some progress being made, but as a whole, you can see that for the last 7 days, there's been about 3,000 Ethereum. 3,000 Ethereum kind of spent over the last 7 days on NFT projects as a whole. Now, 3,000 Ethereum, if you do the math on that, that's about 450,000 USD. Okay, for 7 days. Now, what does that give you on a daily basis? 420 divided by 7 is like 60. So it's about 60,000 USD daily traded volume as NFTs as a whole, right? If you look at cryptocurrency market, you can kind of see that the last 24-hour volume for BTC is 22 billion. Ethereum 8 billion, and a lot of the first page coin kind of eclipse anything NFT related. But if you look at a 60,000 USD volume traded in the last 24 hours, I'm trying to find some coins that kind of resemble that type of volume. You'll see it's all the way down, like something closer to number 125 with the $22 million market cap, or something like this, $20 million market cap. So between $20 and $30 million market cap, you start to see these sort of numbers, but they're still pretty damn big. Look at this, 2 million, 20 million, 1 million USD. We're still being wrecked like on the last 24-hour volume when compared to cryptocurrency coins. So for me, it gives me an indication as to how much money there is still out there just in the crypto sphere. Okay, and then you've got gold and silver and all that still to come to crypto. A lot of those people, a lot of new investors, young age investors starting to jump into cryptocurrencies. But it gives me the growth potential for the NFT space as a whole, which is just tremendous, right? It's just out of control as to how much this space can grow. There's only a handful of people that kind of know about NFTs. I notice the same faces when I go to different project pre-sales. They're usually the same faces that I see investing their money, and a handful of others. So it just gives you an indication of how much there is to grow. Now, I also wanted to show you, or at least talk to you about the effect prices have, like Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin and the price of Mana in the case of Decentraland has on the marketplace. So this is the sales, the recent sales for Decentraland, and usually how it's worked. So we've had 2 years worth of data to look at how the NFT market, or how these collectibles or assets, the marketplace, is affected when BTC spikes or mana spikes or goes down, like how does this affect the marketplace? Decentraland lands are purchased in the mana token, right? That's just like how Gods Unchained or other assets or NFTs are purchased in Ethereum. Decentraland specifically uses the mana token to purchase these. Now, usually a lot of these investors, a lot of the people in the Decentraland world are used to operating in the mana token. But sometimes when you're an early investor or you've invested in your land for about 6 months to a year, some of you guys might want to sell your land and cash out that mana. That might be playing in the back of your head. But sometimes what happens is mana spikes quite a lot. And historically, it's happened a few times where mana has just gone bonkers. And it's like doubled or tripled in the same day. You can see here, we've gone from, if you look at the green numbers at the top, you can see a low of 1269 sats and a high of around 2000 sats in a single day. So I think in USD volume, USD prices, that was like, it was about 6 cents to 12 cents, or in some cases 10 cents to 30 cents. There was a case over here, I think, where this one went to, no, it wasn't this one. I think it was this one. 3,891 sats. So sometimes these things happen where these get pumped so hard and obviously dumped right after. But for some reason, they get pumped. And what happens is Decentraland investors, if it's not a pump coming from the growth of the project, if it's just like something where an investor's just come in and out of the blue bought like 50 million mana because he wants to put it into the market or whatever he wants to do, usually what happens is that some people want to sell their land out of FOMO because now their land, which was 300 USD, has suddenly become 1200 USD because the fiat price has increased for the mana. So they're happy to sell it at 15,000 mana, which they know they can probably get it out in the next week. They dump it real quick for about 10,000 or maybe 8,000 mana. And so we've seen that a few times where people dump their land prices when mana goes up really high, or sometimes it goes down at a scary price and people, out of fear, sell their land. But the same case with Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin going up and down is a scary thing for NFTs because unfortunately everything is tied to Bitcoin. BTC pairings make the majority of the volume in many cases, and whichever direction Bitcoin goes, up or down, you notice that the altcoins get hammered, whether it goes up or down. If there's big moves, big swings, you notice that all the alts get kind of smashed down because a lot of the spotlight goes towards Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, at 8,000, suddenly if we see a 9,000 or 10,000 USD spike, you'll notice volume dries up with Decentraland. Suddenly people are watching BTC, right? People aren't watching these and thinking about what lands to buy and sell. Suddenly people are looking at Bitcoin and what they can sell to jump on the Bitcoin wagon. And this is the problem with cryptocurrencies is it's predominantly based on speculation. At this early stage of everything, we're still kind of trying to find a foothold in industries. Everything fluctuates so much, and that fluctuation has attracted very short attention span investors, and that's kind of cascaded across the NFT world and cryptocurrencies, whether it be Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other altcoin. But people have become very short attention span people. Wherever the spotlight seems to hit, they'll jump onto it, and the other parts of crypto dries up or kind of stays stagnant for a while. So we personally noticed that watching the Decentraland land marketplace, that when over the last year or so, we've seen that Bitcoin has moved quite significantly up from 3,000 all the way up to 12,000, back down to 7,000 or 8,000 at the moment. We've seen Decentraland slow down in volume, definitely not as much as it used to, not significantly. If you look at the volume, it's actually not that significant, but it's enough to have an effect. And those effects are needed to be known because that isn't a risk you're taking as an NFT investor. You're investing in a very small space that has a handful of people you're hoping that the space grows, and you're also hoping that people continue watching this market. You can see that, in the last year or so, we've continued to have consistent volume. It's a Decentraland graph, but it's not anywhere near what it was previous. This area here, you see it's a lot larger than what it was. Yeah, it's hard to tell because the scale is a little bit different. You can see this scale starts from 1.5 to 2, but this scale is 2.4, 3.2. We were seeing some massive days, right? When the spotlight was on Decentraland. And it's the same thing with CryptoKitties. When everyone was watching CryptoKitties and it was going crazy, that's because it had that FOMO period. Everyone was watching it. And then with cryptocurrency starting to get the attention, and that's where the kind of attention went to in the late 2017 bull run of the cryptocurrency market. So on a macro level, it's interesting or important to understand how these factors play with your investment portfolios, because if you're looking at the charts, especially with Mana right now, if you're looking at the charts and in the last let's see if we can kind of go to the current place right now. In the last, I'd say, month or two, couple of months, we've seen an upward trend, mostly. Apart from this little pullback over here, hopefully it's not as significant. We're sitting at about 400 or 398. Yeah, 400, down from about 500, but we've seen that go up from 300. So, as a chart reader or whatever, you're doing a TA analysis, you're hoping there's some sort of an upward movement, swings with Mana, and you're kind of predicting like, okay, wait, if Mana goes up really high, maybe it's better to keep my money in the Mana token, so I have that buy power when Mana spikes and people want to sell their land, right? So those are the things that also influence. You want to look at the token that you're trading in. Ethereum as well, as a Gods Unchained investor, which is predominantly in Ethereum, and especially a lot of these projects are predominantly in Ethereum, I do keep an eye on the value of Ethereum and the way that it's moving, because I can assure you, if Ethereum starts to go from 140 USD to 300 USD to 600 USD, then there's going to be some, people selling up their Gods Unchained cards for cheaper, because suddenly their card that was worth 300 USD is worth like 2,000 US dollars. But in terms of crypto, maybe it's gone from 10 Ethereum to 6 Ethereum. They're happy to sell it from 10 to 6 Ethereum, but they're still making a fiat profit. And for a person that has bills coming up, a car to buy or a holiday to purchase, that's a very attractive proposal. So sometimes the dumping effect has it affects the marketplace in a negative way for NFTs. So that's just a few words on the macro kind of view or outlook on NFT projects and how they're affected from current external factors. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Mana, in the case of Decentraland, really do have an economical role to play. But if you look at Decentraland specifically, and you look at the math model in all the the economic formula, you're looking at something like Bitcoin is connected to Mana, Mana is connected to land prices is everything's connected to fiat. So how your currency does in your country, and how BTC swings, how Mana swings, how land prices go up and down based on demand. There's so many factors in this pricing model. It's not as easy as just trying to say, oh, right, well, if land prices continue to go up, well, then doesn't that just mean that my investment is going to continue to go up? In a way, yes, but you also got to think about the fiat value and what you're in it for. So a few words again about the macro level investing. Hopefully that's educated you a bit, or at least provided some insight as to what we've learned over the last 2 years kind of following this space.